Prough with Ag Reports Network. Today is Tuesday, and we are looking at a bean field we haven't looked at for several weeks. I've been off going to various meetings and just haven't really shot any of our own crop videos. Had some reports from Quincy, Florida, and later on in this report I'll have some reports from Auburn University and Auburn University from a meeting that I attended there on the aquaculture stakeholders meeting. Looking at the beans here today, we're seeing some sudden death coming in, yellowing, but it is that time of year when we hope for them to start turning anyway. So as we look down in the plant, we can see quite a few pods. Don't see any 4s, but there's a lot of 3s, some 2s, but at least at this point, here we are in the cornfield. I picked out a pretty decent ear here. There are 18 rows. We look at the end of the year, it's still got a ways to go to get to maturity yet. The stalks are still very green. When I did a bite test on it, it's still pretty mushy, so it's still pretty wet yet. Harvest will be, if we have some decent drying weather, maybe early September, but we'll just have to keep an eye on it. As we continue looking at the cornfield, this field of mine was planted in 23rd of May, and it's beginning to dry down. I think varieties are going to play a big role in how corn dries down this year. As we pan on around and we look across the road at neighbor's field, this was planted in late April, and we've been following this corn all the way from planting this year, and it's beginning to turn, especially on the other end of the field. It seems to be drier than it is on this end. As I mentioned, I drove to Montgomery, Alabama last week. It is surprising to me. You saw a field of corn opened up. There were a few fields that had been harvested, but there is an awful lot of green corn and green beans in this 600 miles between here and Alabama. And I have a sneaking suspicion it's all going to come, or harvest is all going to start all over up and down this area all about the same time, which does not bode well for movement of grain if grain has to move at that time, because hopefully some of that southern corn could maybe be at least in the pipeline, but now it'll all be coming in at once. There are beans down there. I talked to a fella in Arkansas, and he said that they were very late getting their crops in this year, had a lot of rain. There are more drier beans here around home than I saw all the way down through there. There were a few fields in Alabama that were getting near ready to cut, and I might have even seen some fields that had been harvested. I'm not sure, but when you're whizzing along, you don't really know for sure what's going on. But all in all, I enjoyed my trip down there. It was nice to learn about what's going on in the aquaculture industry. This is an area that we have the greatest potential for soybean meal use, and hopefully with biodiesel coming on and more meal being produced, it's another livestock sector that could make use of that meal. They are also working some dried distillers grains into their ration also, but we'll try and keep you appraised of what's going on in the area next few weeks. hopefully we get some sun. Today is overcast, and we're not getting much dry down today. For Ag Reports Network, this is Ross Prough at Greenfield, Illinois. Opportunity to visit Auburn University and their fish farming research facility. We're looking here at a facility that is built especially to house hybrid catfish. Aquaculture stakeholders meeting. This is a program that the soybean associations and the USB are doing research on feeding soybean meal to fish, and it's quite an exciting adventure to be on, looking into the future as a place to feed more soybean meal. The cost of fish meal is getting very expensive, and so as a result they're looking for alternatives. I don't know whether you can see them, you can just barely see them swimming around the tank, but this is a hatchery, and this is where they're breeding catfish and trying to do experiments on getting fish that will grow on soybean meal and various other things. Unfortunately, fish do not always have the ability to digest animal or plant protein, and they're carnivorous creatures, and so they need other fish to eat. Water aerator here on a fish pond. Probably can't see it in the video, but we have driven about a half a mile, and it's just a gently, slowly falling grade, and they have these ponds laid out so that they can drain each one individually or however they need to do it, so that they can test the fish and see how they're doing, try the various feeding projects, and water availability here in Alabama is very critical. They have to use rainwater. They get about 44 to 45 inches a year, and so the only way that they can have water in a lot of areas is to store it in like in a farm pond situation or something like that. So they've turned these ponds into recreational fishing to a certain extent, but anyway, here at the university, they are using these ponds to grow various varieties of fish, and really quite an interesting thing. Probably one of the few areas in soybean meal usage is in catfish, and as I mentioned a moment ago, it's a very tedious thing. You still have to leave some fish meal in it, but fish meal has gone from probably $250 a ton 5 years ago till now it's up to $1,400–1,500 a ton. So they're looking for alternatives. They're also using DDGs along with it, and it seems to be working out very well.
Fish feed. The idea for catfish is to make it float on top of the water as long as possible to get the best efficiency out of it.
It's a finishing house here at Auburn University. They've just threw out feed, and the fish, these are tilapia. This is a controlled environmental building that they can raise about 20,000 pounds of fish through here a year. As you can see, the fish are making quite a splash as they come up feeding the water. These are cucumbers that are being grown in a controlled environment. It's a greenhouse, and they are the fish house that we were just in. They're running the wastewater through here and using it to fertilize the cucumbers, and they have strings going up to the ceiling that the cucumbers will vine up on, and they will go all the way to the top, and they will be able to pick the cucumbers up off the ground. Quite an interesting project.